Hello and welcome, listeners, to the very first episode of the Take Courage 143 podcast titled A Wish is a Dream Your Heart Makes. I'm your host, Andrea Richmond, and it's an absolute privilege to embark on this journey with you. Our mission here is to shine a light on stories of hope, resilience, and incredible strength that lies within the human spirit. In today's episode, we delve into the topics that's both tender and profoundly inspiring. We have an immense honor of being joined by two leaders from the Make-A-Wish organization here in Erie, Pennsylvania, a beacon of hope for countless families and children facing life-altering challenges. Today, we will explore the mission of Make-A-Wish, the incredible impact they've made, and dive deep into the heart of their operation, granting wishes that bring joy, strength, and a sense of magic to children battling critical illness. Navigating family life after a child has been diagnosed with cancer is an unimaginable journey for many parents. It's a time where hope seems dim and joy a distant memory. However, within this darkness, organizations like Make-A-Wish step in to remind us that even in the most challenging moments, there's a light to be found through the fulfillment of a child's heartfelt wish. We will explore the ways parents can connect with Make-A-Wish, understanding the process behind a wish-granting experience, and how this incredible organization works tirelessly to ensure that every eligible child sees their most cherished dream turn into reality. Our guests will share stories that remind us of the resilience of the human spirit and how a single wish can ignite hope, not just in the hearts of these brave children, but within their families and communities. So whether you're a parent navigating these difficult waters, a donor, a volunteer, or someone who simply believes in the power of hope and dreams, this episode promises to touch your heart, inspire action, and perhaps encourage us all to look within and find ways to contribute to this beautiful mission. Let's take this moment to remind ourselves of the power of community, the strength found in unity, and the remarkable changes we can make when we come together to support one another. Join us as we take this first step together on the Take Courage 143 podcast. It's a journey of hope, of dreams, and most importantly, of courage. Now, without further ado, let's welcome our esteemed guest. I'm so happy you're here.
I think this is the first time I've ever been referred to as esteemed.
Thank you. Yes. Oh my gosh, you guys are truly heroes. So let's welcome Jan Stork. And she's an amazing leader with a passion to serve others. Jan worked for Make-A-Wish for 25 years. Retired as Vice President of Development in 2022. In her time with Make-A-Wish, she oversaw 1,478 wishes in Erie region. Raised $11,636,000 and volunteered on 40 wishes. She continues her involvement with Make-A-Wish now as a wish-granting volunteer and committee member for Waffles and Wishes. Next to Jan is Courtney. Welcome, Courtney.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, an unsung hero making children's wishes come true here in Erie, Pennsylvania. Courtney is a regional manager. You started at Make-A-Wish as an intern, as a senior in high school.
I did.
Wow, that is incredible. And then ended up moving away.
Yep.
And then coming back as a senior in college.
Yep.
And then ended up now you are a lifer.
Yes, I sure am. Jan actually asked me if I would take over her position the day of my wedding. She asked if I would move home.
Good,
Really, she had nothing else on her mind that day. Why not talk about Make-A-Wish?
You truly do become family, right? Like
You do, very quickly.
I feel like since 2011, Jan's never, far from my heart, never far from me physically. We run into each other at the grocery store, at the coffee shop.
That's right.
So then our guest here on the end is my daughter, Lauren Richmond. Lauren Richmond is a leukemia survivor. She went on a wish, and we're going to talk about it later in the podcast. In 2012, our entire family traveled to Disney. Lauren is now 19 years old, and she is a BCMB major at Worcester in denial, and with a minor in psychology, and plans to work in some capacity with children. She'll
Yes.
tell you more about that, right? You'll tell us more about that. So I'm so glad you all are here. Oh my gosh, this is like, it's surreal for me right now. First podcast, first guest at Art Family, but our family. So Make-A-Wish is an amazing organization, of course, that provides wishes for families going through life transforming experiences. And I have a few questions for you that relate to how families can get in contact with your organization and what they need to know and how they can make that a smooth process. And I want to encourage them to do this. This is the whole mission of this podcast. Like, say yes, like, don't be afraid, because once you say yes, it's all an amazing experience from there, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's my goal. I mean, we had such an amazing experience as a family, and we want to carry on and help your mission to grant more wishes to children out there with life-threatening illnesses and critical illnesses. So my first question is, can you describe the core mission of your organization and how it aligns with the goal of granting wishes to children with critical illnesses?
Yeah, so our mission is just that. We create life-changing wishes for children with critical illnesses, and it's the only thing that we do at Make-A-Wish. We work with kids between the ages of 2.5 and 18, and we typically come into their lives within the beginning stages of their treatment journey, because often it is the doctor or a social worker that's actually telling them about Make-A-Wish
Right.
and how to get involved with us.
Yeah.
So like I said, it is the only thing that we do, and we very purposefully have the words life changing in the mission statement, because we believe that, and we have the research behind it now to say that this is a necessary part of the medical treatment journey for children to be able to overcome their illness faster and to really feel that joy that's been missing from their lives for so long.
I love it. It is truly a wonderful mission. So what inspired the foundation of Make-A-Wish? I know, Jan, you told me a story.
Yes. Well, in 1983, there was a young boy by the name of Chris, and he was battling leukemia in Phoenix, Arizona. And the news was not good, and his mother knew the likelihood of him surviving was not high. And so she contacted the local police there and said, my son's wish is to be a police officer someday. His favorite TV show was Chips, for anybody out there that perhaps is old like me and remembers that TV show. So he said, I think we might be able to help. And the timing was critical because he really was not doing well. So within a day, within 24 hours, he had other police officers on board. A uniform was sewn for him. They got a badge. They did everything they could to make his wish come true the following day. And they picked him up in the morning and had a little, because of Chips, he really liked the sidecar on a motorcycle. That was there. But when they asked him if he'd like to get and ride in the sidecar, he said, no, my mom doesn't let me ride in anything that doesn't have a roof.
That is funny.
Isn't that adorable?
Yeah.
And so they allowed him to go out that day, and he wrote tickets for jaywalkers. And it was just a day that, honestly, his mom said at this point, she will never forget.
Pure
and
magic, right?
Pure magic for him. 3 days after that wish, he passed away.
Wow.
And to this day, he is still the only non-police officer buried with full honors of being a police officer.
What an incredible story.
And that small group of people, probably about 5, said, we should do this for more people.
Yep.
We see what a difference this made to Chris.
Yes.
And that's how Make-A-Wish got started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been 40 years.
Yeah, just over 40 years. And there is a Make-A-Wish that covers every region in the United States. And we're also in 50 other countries, I believe. And since that inception, we've across the world granted 585,000 wishes.
What one spark of joy.
Isn't
Yes.
that amazing?
Right?
And I think that's what those who listening and watching need to know is that you can be that spark too.
Mhm.
Yes.
That spark, whether you're a volunteer, a donor, a family, whatever role you play, you can be a spark to make a huge difference.
I agree completely. What a fantastic beginning. So, could you walk us through the process from when a child is nominated to when their wish is granted?
Yeah, so I started to allude to it earlier that we typically are seeing our kids referred while they're in the hospital. They might be seeing their doctor for the first time or a number of different circumstances that end up with them in the hospital. And the social worker or the doctor typically refers them to our organization. Anybody can refer them though. It can be a family member, the child themselves, if they're old enough, at wish.org. You can see the full form there.
Okay.
Once they're referred to us, we go through an eligibility review, which is basically our staff members know some basic questions what to ask the family because not every condition is going to qualify with us. And we send them off to I believe the official title of it is our medical eligibility board, which is based in Phoenix, Arizona at our national headquarters. So they review and they're actually the ones that determine the eligibility. We
Okay.
don't do it locally and it's consistent across the board.
And there are a lot of doctors on that committee.
A lot of doctors, nurses. Yes. So it's a very pristine committee that makes those decisions. And then once they're eligible with us, once they qualify, we pass them off to 2 wish granting volunteers who get to go to the home or now since COVID can do the meeting virtually on Zoom, and they go in and they get to help determine the wish with the child. So I'm going to let Jan talk about the volunteer experience since she herself is a longtime volunteer with us.
A longtime volunteer. In fact, Lauren's volunteer, which is really fun. So as a volunteer, we always go in a team of 2.
Okay.
I think both for a volunteer safety and a family safety, it makes sense to go in with a team of 2.
And I remember you came to our home here in Erie, Pennsylvania
Yes.
with a volunteer.
Yes.
And
And her name was also Courtney.
yes,
at that.
her name
Yes.
was also Courtney.
Yes, not this Courtney. You would have
No.
been a little young for that
Yes.
at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. But yes, so we go in and we first talk a little bit about what Make-A-Wish is all about. And then we say to the child, because Make-A-Wish is very purposeful in that we want this to be the child's wish, not the parent's wish, sorry, not the sibling's wish, but the child's wish as to what will make them the happiest.
Yes.
There are certain types of wishes that we know we cannot do. 25 years ago, actually 27 years ago, when I first started, they used to do construction wishes. And they learned very quickly that we couldn't do them well. And if we're not going to do something well, we probably shouldn't do it.
Right.
So construction wishes, because we had no control over them, were taken off the board as something we can do. But other than that, a child's imagination really creates what the wish is going to be. And that's what the volunteers go in to do, is talk with the child. And we have all kinds of tools that we can use to say, let's pretend this is a love me not, but you picked 2 of this kind of wish and 2 of another kind of wish. And then you slowly go through and say, if you had to take one away. And that's one way we find what their true wish. And sometimes it even surprises the children that
Right.
that's really what they want, because they may say to their parents, I want a horse. And the parents,
Like
and
us,
like you, and the parents are like, what? You want what? And so it's
like
really
a stuffed one or a real one, Mrs.
Exactly.
It's important to make that distinction.
It is important to make that distinction. But that's the
Oh.
role of the volunteers, and they keep in touch with the families throughout the entire process to check in, see how the child's doing, make sure the time frame that has been set up for the wish is still feasible and doable, and
Just amazing.
it is.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Just from the time you walk in the door until, you meet the child and then till their wish is granted. I know you came to our house in October And Lauren ended up going for her 7th birthday to
In what
Disney.
month?
In February.
In February.
February 1st.
Okay. All right. So that was a nice turnaround.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The goal is what, 6 months?
The goal is to grant the wish from the time they qualify with us to the time they go within 6 months. But sometimes that can vary. That can be very quick for certain reasons, whether it's we can send them really quick or the doctor determines that they need to go quickly. But we always consult with the medical team before we say that we'll grant the wish and before we actually plan the dates. So
Okay.
doctors have to sign up or sign off on the safety of a wish and the timing of a wish.
That
We are
is-
not going to make that determination ourselves.
That's invaluable information there,
Yes.
right? Like from the outside, like a parent who's maybe thinking like, oh, I don't know what that organization is about and how does it work? Like you're always looking at the safety of the child
Absolutely.
first.
Yeah,
and-
absolutely.
And,
And
connecting with their healthcare
yes.
team.
And even just this week, we had somebody say, well, I think I want to go this month, but I'm going to have to check with my doctor. We're going to do that for you. We are going to make sure we would never put you on an airplane to send you down there if your doctor said this isn't the right time.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Excellent. Excellent. This is great information. So in terms of impact, can you share how a granted wish benefits not just the child, but also their family and community?
Yeah.
I think we're experiencing it right now.
Yes, I would say that you're seeing it live in action right now, that you still want to even talk to us after your wish. I think it says a lot about it. But Make-A-Wish America actually put out a study in 2022, I think is when it came out. And it surveyed a ton of Wish alumni and medical professionals and volunteers and families. And they got all this impactful information about the true impact of a wish. So we've always felt like it was life-changing. We just kind of knew it inherently because of the stories that the families would tell us and the experiences that we would watch unfold in a wish. But what this showed is medical professionals said that the kids that went on their wish actually had better treatment compliance and overcame their illnesses faster than kids
believe
that
it.
didn't have a wish.
I believe it.
Yes. And families reported saying that they felt closer together after their wish, that they felt the hope, the joy that the child did, because the child's not experiencing the illness by themselves. They
That's
may
right.
be the one fighting it, but the whole family is experiencing it. The siblings are watching their parents go down to the hospital. They're sitting in the hospital rooms together. They're going to treatment together. So it's important to us. While it's the child's wish, the whole family should be involved.
Yes.
And it was evident in that survey and in families like you guys that the whole family is impacted.
oh, and it was an incredible experience.
Well, and as you know, and as you talked about in your book, for those who haven't read it, you really should. But what you talked about was that both when Lauren and Sydney were diagnosed, you were the one at the hospital. Jeff had to work.
And that's when there were flip phones. So I'm so glad that,
Oh, can you imagine? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they had Google like at a computer.
And you probably only had 30 minutes talk time. Because
right.
back then we used phones to talk.
Yes, exactly. And-
Also, I would like to note my grandma was with me a lot of the time at the hospital, and she got to go on me with my wish, which I think was really special to her.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
yes.
But it's a family. Make-A-Wish is able to reunite a family after they've been separated due to circumstances.
Right.
Because someone has to continue working and taking care of the children that are home, and then someone has to be at the hospital with the sick child. So it's wonderful that a family can be reunited through a wish.
Amazing. Yes. And so now, like, let's talk about volunteers. Like, how can people get involved with your organization? What does that look like? And maybe for those out there that want to do something to have an impact and help
Yeah.
grant a wish, or what
Sure.
what is the capacity that people, the general public, can do to
Yeah.
help make these wishes?
There's two real avenues that people can get involved with us. The wish granting volunteers, like we're talking about, like Jan is. I myself am a wish granting volunteer as well. You just have to be over the age of 21 to get
Okay.
involved with us. And you can go to wish.org/greater PAWV, like Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and learn more information about that. But really, you get to be the front line of going out and meeting the families. The wish granting volunteers have the most fun part of the process.
Absolutely.
That is,
And we do that on purpose because we need the help of volunteers, and it's not as fun to call Southwest and sit on the phone to change the name of the person who's going on the wish. That's not as fun. We do that on our end.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, the vital component of having people go out
Yes.
and meet these families and see what's going on in their lives
Exactly.
and find out what the true heart of that wish
Yes.
for that child is, right?
There's a very personal connection component to it that's vital to the wish experience itself and makes it all the more impactful to them, because they also a lot of times stay in touch with the wish families like this
right.
after the wish
Yes.
happens, and they can continue those memories and that relationship following the wish. So you have the the volunteer element, which we are searching for more volunteers right now. If you're interested in volunteering, please call us at 868-9474.
And I'll also post that on the Take Courage 143 page
Perfect.
and Take Courage 143 on Instagram.
And I can
Yes.
say as a volunteer, you will not regret it. It is one of the best experiences and one of the reasons I'm still doing it.
Yes. And from a time commitment perspective, because that's often a barrier that we hear from volunteers or prospective volunteers, it's really as much time as you'd like to put into it. So sometimes we have volunteers who have all the time in the world and are on 6 wishes in a year, like Jan.
She's
Looking
the
at
wish
you.
granting
And
mama.
yes,
right.
and sometimes we have volunteers that don't have as much time or are in an area where we don't have that many kids that qualify, and they are on 1 wish a year or every 2 years, and you still get the connection with the family, but there's not as much of a time commitment. So it's what you want it to be. So that's the volunteer component. And then from a donation perspective, people can support us financially because the wishes are not free. We pay for the wishes. The average cost is about $5,000 for each of the kids, and our chapter grants about 550 wishes a year. So we do have some great partners nationally and locally that do a lot of in-kind support for us where they donate their services, but we still have to pay that about $5,000 out of pocket for every wish. So you can donate, you can start a fundraiser, you can start an event. There's tons of ways to get involved, even if you're a child. There's what we call Kids for Wish Kids, where even in the schools or a Girl Scout troop or things like that, they fundraise for us and help to make these wishes come true.
Lauren was a donor.
I think it was my 13th birthday. Instead of taking presents, I took donations for Make-A-Wish, and I don't remember how much we raised. My mom might know.
I'm not
Better
sure
than
exactly
me.
either. We were going to check on it.
I'm
but
going to say you raised like 100. No, you probably raised about $3,000. I think
Okay.
it
Wow.
was.
Yeah.
Which was amazing that anybody, and truly, it was a party because I went to it.
and
And
we had fun.
And it was a
while we were
blast.
raising
Everybody was out.
money.
But it was so nice because all of her friends and their families made a donation to Make-A-Wish in her name. And what a great way to get involved, that it doesn't, people say, I don't have a lot of money. Well, you don't have to. You can hold
Yes.
a fundraiser and ask all those people who do have a lot of money.
I go right to the simple things too. Like this time of year when people are having yard sales, like put out a jar or something for Make-A-Wish and
That's
just
right.
collect anybody that would like to donate like maybe $1 or $5, and it adds up, right?
Yes, kids doing
Yeah.
lemonade stands.
Yes.
Yes.
And it adds up, but it also is awareness building for us and opens a conversation a lot of times for people who see it. Oh, I kind of know about Make-A-Wish, but I don't exactly know what they do. It's the awareness building is just as important to us as the fundraising.
Yes.
I remember at my fundraiser, there were a couple of families that really took the
Initiative.
donating money to heart, and they would donate a little more than others. And I think that kind of spread awareness to families, and they kind of realized that they can really play a big part in helping Make-A-Wish that way.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think they tend to give more. If they're buying you a gift, they might spend $25, $40. But if they're making a donation, they might do 50 or 100
Yeah.
because they know where it's going. Not that you're
Exactly.
not worth
Yeah.
$100.
All right. So we'll move on to the next question. How does your organization measure and evaluate the success and impact of each granted wish?
Yeah, we send out a survey to every wish kid that comes back, and we get a lot of them back. And we will call them. We'll just take verbal feedback as well, but that's essentially how we learn how well the wish has gone over for
I
them.
can't imagine anything else but 5 stars.
Well, and as
That's what we-
volunteers, that's part of the volunteers' job too, is to make
Yes.
sure they go back and meet with the family
Yep.
after the wish is complete to say, how was it? How did we do? I mean, Make-A-Wish is in Erie and in Northwest Pennsylvania has been doing this for 40 years.
Mhm.
And so when you look at that, it's easy to say, how much money do we give them? And is it enough? And do we need to give them more? Those are the types of things that it's important when families are filling out surveys that we know about. Is there a volunteer that maybe shouldn't be volunteering?
Right.
Those are the kinds of things that are
Right.
good to find out.
Yeah,
And I
keep
think
things.
Jan kind of hinted at something that's important for potential families to know if there's any barriers to wanting to accept a wish. We do give the families money to spend while they're down there. So if it's a concern from a spending perspective, when you get to Disney, you have a card from Make-A-Wish that has a designated amount on it that you get to spend while you're there. So it's not coming out of your pocket
Right.
unless you'd like to live lavishly while you're down there.
Right. No, I mean, I remember we got a stipend, and then while
Yeah.
you're at Give Kids the World, I mean, it's just you walk into an amazing universe of everything is
Yes.
open 24/7, and Lauren's going to talk more about that. But yeah, it's just so magical, so magical. So how does your organization handle situations where a wish might not be medically advisable?
Yeah, I kind of touched on that we are in communication with the doctors and the medical team constantly. And if they come back, that's why we ask for multiple wish ideas from a
Okay.
child, where if they want to, let's say they want to go on a cruise and the doctor says, I can't have you that far away for that period of
On a
time.
boat in the middle of the
And
Mediterranean.
they
Exactly.
can't assure
Yes.
the medical care that they'll get.
Yes.
Right.
And so the doctor comes back and says, I'm sorry, we can't allow that. Then we'll go to the second wish, but we'll call the family to say, unfortunately, the doctor doesn't feel this is appropriate. I understand this is his second wish, his or her second wish. Is that really what they want? And we'll kind of start the process over again to
Okay.
make sure that second wish will be as exciting for them as that first one that
And
might not have been appropriate.
Transparency is always just the way to go, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
really,
But it's
like,
very rare when someone
Very
chooses
rare.
a wish that they can't get.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, I remember one time we had a child that wanted a swimming pool, but that child had a very severe seizure disorder that was not being controlled by medications.
Yeah.
And the doctor said, we just can't approve a swimming pool. It's too dangerous.
Yep.
That if he's in the pool and has a seizure,
Oh,
I just can't be responsible for what might happen.
Yeah.
right.
And that made perfect sense to the family. They hadn't really thought about that perspective of it. So chose another wish that ended up being wonderful.
Mhm.
Yes. All right. And as we wind down here, what steps does your organization take to ensure the privacy and security of the children and families you work with?
So all of our staff and volunteers sign confidentiality agreements to make sure that we're not just giving the family's information out to anybody. But we also ask in the initial meeting for the family to sign a publicity document where we give them multiple options, whether it's they're comfortable with us posting about their wish and their child on social media or in our newsletter or anywhere for that matter, or if they're comfortable with us doing it and sponsors doing it, which, like, for example, Subaru is a national sponsor of ours, and they'll often feature a local wish child, but they have to have signed off on that sponsor piece. Or they can say, do not post about me anywhere. I would like to remain completely anonymous. And then they could send pictures and maybe we look at them as staff members, but the rest of that remains confidential
of
to our
that
organization.
Brings a lot of peace of mind. Yeah, I would
Yes.
say for someone that's out there that's like, well, I don't want my face
Yes.
or my child's face anywhere, and you
Yes.
can do that. So
Yeah.
Yep, it's all in their hands
everything
to
can
make
be
that
anonymous
decision.
if they want it to be.
Yep.
Amazing. So looking to the future, what do you think your biggest challenges and opportunities you see for your organization in continuing to grant wishes to children with critical illness?
Ooh, what a great question. So the biggest, I don't want to say barrier, but the biggest piece that we always want to consider is the financial element to make sure that we're raising enough funds to be able to grant the wishes. And I gave that $5,000 number before on our average wish. We evaluate that average cost annually to make sure that that's still reflective, because we'll, for example, maybe apply to a grant from a community foundation or something like that, we want to make sure that the money that they're giving to us is actually enough to fund a wish from our end and their end. They would like to make sure they're funding the
Absolutely.
whole wish. So financially, we always want to be cognizant of that with the rising price of everything around us.
Right.
We want to make sure of that, but we also want to make sure that we're getting to every child. So I talked about the awareness piece, making sure that people know about us. We've got a great relationship with Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh. So 99% of the kids that are going to Children's Hospital are being referred to us if it's appropriate. But what about the kids that go to other hospitals? We want to make sure that we're getting to them. So that's something that we're actively working on to make sure of,
Yeah,
because
and
maybe we are reaching all the kids, but we don't know that for sure. So that's always something we're cognizant
hoping
of.
this podcast will reach more of them.
I hope so.
And over the years, I can talk briefly about it's whenever there's a natural disaster or something like COVID, that truly impacts Make-A-Wish because people might say, well, you know what, this is an immediate need.
Right.
And so we're going to give to this natural disaster. And our hope is that they'll realize it's at times like this, especially during COVID. Children are alone already, and that really set them apart with COVID, that they couldn't do
More amplified.
anything. It was, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely more amplified. And so kids needed a wish then more than ever. And they needed that magic and that power in a wish.
Yep.
And so those are challenges that you never know you're going to face until it happens.
Right.
Right.
And we want to be prepared. I mean, there's an endowment fund so that Make-A-Wish can operate
Yep.
when that happens, and we can rely on that money.
I love it. Those are great ways to sustain an organization for another 40 years.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Bring on 100. All right. So my daughter, Lauren Richmond, welcome to my podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Your mom's gone YouTuber. Is that okay
Yeah.
with you?
Not really, but I'll deal with it.
She's hardly embarrassed at all.
We want to be courageous. And so today I'm just going to ask you about your time and our time as a family on your Make-A-Wish trip, which we went to Disney World. Lauren, when Jan came to the house and with the other Courtney, Lauren was just 6 years old and she had relapsed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia, originally diagnosed in 2006 and relapsed just short of 5 years, which is considered cured. And so we went once again, we're traveling the road, and I want listeners to know that our family originally was resistant to having a wish, and we put it off. And I think in hindsight, we should have went ahead with a wish earlier. And so I encourage you to, contact the organization, let a family member, let a friend, let a neighbor. If you don't want to do it yourself, mention it to a neighbor and say, like, you might be thinking about it for your child, and let them take the lead. There's plenty of people that out there that are around you that are willing to step up and initiate it if you would not like to do it yourself.
And I think if I can address that just briefly, I think it's really important to note that many families are hesitant because they think, I can do something for my child if they want it. I can give it to them.
we thought the exact same
Yes.
thing.
In
We can do it.
which
We can
case
do it.
we say it's not about you. It's about the child and giving them some control
Yep.
back in their lives. It's their wish. They get to choose what the family's going to do. And that's really a really important part, I think, of recovery is having them be able to choose that.
Yes.
They think they're taking a wish from someone else. And Courtney is very good at her job for raising money,
Yes.
and she raises enough for every child that qualifies.
Yes.
So do not worry that you're taking a wish from another child. This is about your child, and let them have that.
And it was an amazing when we finally said yes, and Jan came to our doorstep with Courtney, and I remember she came through the door, and you guys were like, "The lady from Make-A-Wish is here," and I don't know that you remember that completely, but everyone was home. It was a planned family event that the Make-A-Wish volunteer was coming to our house, and so Lauren, I guess I want to ask you, like, we found the old file folder. and we found the
nice.
picture that when Jan came to our house with Courtney, the first thing the volunteer did was ask her to draw. Ooh, I'm moving out instead of in. To draw, asked you to draw a picture. Do you want to talk about that picture that you drew? I know you were just 6, but
I'll talk about my interpretation. I might have drawn it. So first of all, I don't know why I remember this, but I remember I drew a table with a fountain in the middle. I don't know if you can see it, but it kind of looks like it.
Oh yeah.
So I think I drew this, and I also drew the word family, or wrote the word family. I think I drew this because I just saw Disney World as a magical place, and a water fountain in the middle of a table just seems magical. And obviously, we found magic in other ways there, but I think that was kind of what I thought, just like my family just being together and kind of a place where anything can happen, even a fountain in the middle of a table. So, and I went for my birthday, I remember, because I just wanted to have like a really good birthday, I think, like in times of struggle. So I think that was kind of why Disney, even though it is the most common wish, as they can attest to.
Just
Yeah.
because it's common doesn't mean it's not magical.
Yeah,
And nobody can do Disney the way Make-A-Wish can do
No.
Disney.
I agree. So I think I chose this because Disney is kind of a really good place to go in times of just not having a lot of hope. I think it just like puts you in sort of a place of happiness rather than suffering. And I think that you guys kind of touched on that earlier, and I can definitely say that that's what the Wish did for us. So
And I love that you wrote family on that, because
Yes.
more often than not, a child will choose their wish based on what's best for the family.
mhm.
You know, my brothers and sisters are going to like this, or we've always talked about it. And it's
Yeah.
not always, when you say we want it to be your wish and this was your wish, but you
Mhm.
had your family in mind when you were choosing it,
Yeah.
which I think speaks volumes about the kinds of kids that we work with.
Yes.
Like I said, it wasn't just me, or like everyone touched on, it wasn't just me going through this. I know my grandma brought me to the hospital, and my sisters were always supporting me, and obviously my parents would bring me to visits, and they would also do whatever they can to support me. So I think it was really important that they got to experience it with me, because we all kind of healed in a way.
Yeah.
So
amazing. Oh my gosh. So of all the magical moments, Lauren, at Disney World and Give Kids the World, do you have one that stands out as your favorite?
So I'm gonna go through my papers here and pick out. This is a star, if anyone can see. So basically, at Give Kids the World specifically, this is a thing that can only happen there. They do this thing, and I don't really remember it perfectly because I was all of 6 years old, and I am now 19. So, but I do remember that there's a building, and you walk in, and in kind of like circles, there are stars that make up circles, and they line just like the entire ceiling of this one building, and that's kind of like the main focal point of what you see when you go in. And so when we walked into that building, they told me that I get to put a star up, and I put into this like machine, and then I think we put in pictures to that machine also that kind of like went along with the star.
And you get to sign the star.
And you get to, and
Put
you
your
get to
name on it.
I think I put my like initials on it. So, and then I remember we were able to look up also other stars of previous people who were there. And I didn't realize my one friend that had passed away, so we met in the ICU when I was diagnosed the first time, and I had complications which led to a seizure. This is what I understand.
Yes,
And
you're
so
right.
basically we met in the ICU during that time, and she had sarcomas in her leg.
A rhabdomyosarcoma.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
We relapsed around the same time. And her sarcomas came back in her lungs, and she ended up passing away. And so when we went to Disney World, this is what kind of made, I think, going during my relapse pretty special, because she went earlier in her first treatment. I believe she was a lot younger than me, but we were able to see that pictures of her during her wish, which I think was really special for my family, because she was kind of like my first friend that I met during treatment. And I think that making friends, obviously it's been different during COVID, but that was a big thing that kind of keeps your hope up that
Yeah.
there are other people going through it with you also.
That's
besides
really
your
neat that you were
family.
able to look up her
So-
star and
Yeah.
make your own wish on her star.
So
Yeah.
I think that like that made going to Disney World particularly special for me and my family because it made us feel really connected with her. And I remember like the last time when we both relapsed, we were in the hospital one day and we just like drew a rainbow together and she passed away, or we painted a rainbow together in the infusion room. And that was like the last time I really got to ever see her. So seeing pictures of her, I think was really special for me and my family because my parents were also really close with that family. So I think that was
I
special
think
for
it's
all of us.
absolutely amazing that you're recalling that memory right now,
Yeah.
Lauren.
That is.
What a
Wow.
special gift.
We might want to tell your listeners what Give Kids the World
I was
is.
just going to say that I was going to jump in, and we're talking about Give Kids the World because all of us know what it is. And I've been there. You guys have been there. Have you ever
I've been
visited?
there.
Yes.
Mhm.
So Give Kids the World is a resort just for Wish kids. There are other wish granting organizations that can also go there. So all the Make-A-Wish kids stay there, as well as some other wish granting organizations. But no one else can stay there. It's only the Wish kids that are staying there. And so it's this community while you're there of other people who are going through the same experience. So you have built-in friends, vacation friends that can really experience that joy with you. But Give Kids the World Village is run by volunteers. So you talked about them being open 24 hours a day. You can get ice cream at any time. You can go at lunch.
I do
you can go at
remember that.
breakfast. Yes. It's
I
every
do
kid's
too.
dream. You can have ice cream for breakfast. And all of the food there is included. So you don't have to pay for it. And they are just the most amazing volunteers and staff members down there that make the experience, like Jan said, no one does Disney like Make-A-Wish does Disney because we have partners at Give Kids the World.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing like the experience at Give Kids the World because it's so focused on the kids and making sure that they have the very best day. Yes, Disney is magical, but the true magic of a wish takes place at Give Kids the World.
Amazing.
And
Yes.
Give Kids the World
And
gives you a
you're-
little pin that you get to wear, which gives
Yes.
you
A button.
a
Yeah.
button, which gives you very special access to rides.
Yes.
Yes.
you are
Yes,
you are
yes.
treated like a true princess while you are there.
My mom was trying to jog my memory last night and she did pull up a video and my dad was like, "Where's the pin? We need to show them at the entrance that we have the pin." So I do remember that being particularly
Well, and that is
important.
and one of the things that pin allows you is to go to the front of the line.
Yes.
Mhm.
And and a lot of people are like, I can't believe they get to go to the front of the line. But if you have a sick child and waiting in those long lines, it would be just so hard for a family.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think Give Kids a World like Make-A-Wish wants this to be a stress-free experience
Yes.
for families and kids. And that's one of the ways they can do it.
And I'll post some pictures to the Take Courage 143 sites, social media. But it's funny that Lauren, when she was there, a lot of the times, like she was on her daddy's shoulders because she was in the
I was just
thick,
about to jump
she
in
was in
and
the
say
thick
something.
of treatment when we went, and we just didn't know like
You're
what
probably
our
weak.
future held.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I mean, I can kind of talk about it a little, not a lot because I don't remember too much, but when you're going and you're receiving chemotherapy as treatment, you do feel like genuinely sick a lot of the time, sick and or tired. And so I think as fun as Disney World is, you do get tired. And I think not waiting in lines, that was very helpful. And just not having to worry about anything besides like having fun.
Right.
I think that really like made the experience like extra special for
Mhm.
us. And I got to stay there probably the whole day if I remember. So we knowing my family, we went at 8 o'clock and left at 10 p.m. or 8 a.m. and left at 10 p.m.
And I see from the picture behind you that you did meet a princess or two.
Yes, I did, and I probably got to meet many of them.
Yes.
My mom did show me videos, and just in the video I saw, I think Aurora I don't know all their
Tinkerbell.
names. Tinkerbell.
We watched the parade come down the street. We were there
Yeah.
for the fireworks one night.
And
So-
Cinderella, who's behind you with that
Cinderella.
amazing hug.
Yeah, and
Yes.
so
I
being
can even see the smile on your face in that
That's
picture.
a
I
great
just
picture.
love it.
so
I just remember it being very carefree for the parents as well. Everything was taken care of. Like we didn't have to lift a finger. The kids, we were like, stay up all night because you could go outside and somebody was
You do
like-
whatever you want.
I remember going on the carousel pretty
And-
much
and that was at
anytime
Give
we
Kids the
wanted.
World,
Yes, I
yes.
Give Kids the World, and I think me and my siblings all really enjoyed that. So,
Yeah.
and ice cream all the time.
Lots of pure joy for us. from
And
Make-A-Wish.
sugar.
I've
Yeah.
never had a family talk to me about Give Kids the World and their Disney trip without mentioning the ice cream. So it's got to be good.
So here we go. Looking forward, Lauren, how has your experience influenced your dreams and aspirations? And where do you see yourself in the future? And how does your journey with leukemia and Make-A-Wish play into that vision?
Okay, so that's a lot of questions in one. So I think first, as you guys know, I'm a college student. Oh my gosh, where do I start? So I would say particularly I went through this when I was a child, and I saw other children kind of suffering, and I couldn't really do much about it besides try to put a smile on their face. So I think with my future career, I really want to work with kids and do whatever I can to help them and like actively help them, whatever that might be. Right now, I'm like my mom said, doing a little bit of science and a little bit of psych. So,
A little bit of science and a little bit of psychology. Sounds like
Yeah.
a perfect mix.
It
so,
does.
You know, whatever I can to help other kids, I think that's what is going to kind of drive my future career, whatever that might be. I'm not sure yet, but I'm just I just finished my first year, so I have a little bit of time
You have time
ahead
to
of me.
figure it
So,
out.
yeah. So, what was the second part of the question? Sorry.
I think you did pretty good with your vision. Just working
then
with children, right?
Yes, and then in terms of how Make-A-Wish kind of helped me, I think I'm gonna actually talk a little bit about I'm a college athlete, which this doesn't have anything to do with specifically tennis, but Make-A-Wish, but I'm a college athlete, and I think what inspired me to keep playing tennis in college was the fact that tennis was kind of my happy place during cancer or during treatment, and I think Make-A-Wish was also kind of you can. Say that they were my happy place or they got me to my happy place, and I think that that's something that like a child doesn't lose. Like I said, I'm still playing tennis and we still keep in contact with you guys, so
Yes.
I think really finding happiness when there's really not a lot to be happy about, I think is really important. I think that my whole family still holds on to that today. I still talk about it. I get bullied sometimes for having my wish be Disney World because it's really basic by a lot
And
of
you
my
say to
friends.
people, I was sick.
Yes. So
Dad would have chosen a car.
yeah. So, but I mean, I don't regret
Maybe
it.
a sports
Obviously,
car.
I already talked about the special reasons as to why Make-A-Wish was really special to me, and doing my Make-A-Wish at Disney was really special to me and my family. So definitely don't regret it.
Good.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much, I
I
think.
love your phrasing, by the way, of it helped me find my happy place.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
I love that too.
That is,
I think that's a perfect way to
Yeah.
like,
it'd be like ding, 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 ding. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. You hit it on the nose.
And
That's exactly what Make-A-Wish is about.
If you could see the videos of me and my sisters, I mean, not only was I happy, but my whole family was happy. Everyone was getting along. So that's always
Amazing.
good. My grandparents were there, and my uncle was there. So I think it was just a really special experience that like we won't forget, particularly because it was happy when we were all, not,
Maybe someday you'll become a volunteer and be able to do that for another child.
as soon as I turn 21,
That's
I
wonderful.
will give you a call.
Okay, that's great.
We're gonna hold you to it.
And this is on live recordings.
all right, your last piece of advice for listeners, Lauren.
Last piece of advice
Yes,
for
to,
listeners.
like, Basically, when they're going through tough times or facing health challenges, about finding joy and courage.
Particularly relating to Make-A-Wish, I would say, even though doing my wish later ended up impacting me in like a different way, I do think that I had a unique experience where I relapsed, but not everyone hopefully will have that experience.
Not many do.
So I think it's really important to reach out to or come in contact with Make-A-Wish as soon as you can, because it truly is kind of something you won't forget, and it's a type of happiness that like you really can't replace. In terms of just in general, I would say I actually don't.
I think you've done a great job.
I don't really know what I would
I
say
think
in
that was
general,
great.
but
Just
I-
go for that wish, right?
yeah, go for the wish. Definitely find like whatever makes you happy. I found tennis. That would be what I would say. Find something that makes you happy all the time.
Yes.
I liked fashion a lot. I remember, so even when going through treatment, I would wear.
You came to a
Uh,
fashion show
yeah.
once.
So I did, yeah, through Make-A-Wish. Was that
Yes.
through Make-A-Wish?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, they really made all my dreams come true. So
That is the perfect way
yeah.
to transition. Make-A-Wish made all your dreams come true.
Yeah.
And mine.
so yeah.
So,
They were
uh,
the tears we were looking
I
for.
know. So as we draw today's episode to a close, I want to extend my deepest gratitude to you guys for coming on the show. To our guests here, Jan and Courtney and Lauren. Oh my goodness.
She dragged me out of bed for this. So.
Yes. Well, thank you for your time, your heart, your insights. The stories and the mission of Make-A-Wish underscores the resilience of human spirit and the transformation power of hope and joy in the lives of children facing critical illness and their families. Phew. I'm getting there. In the darkest of times, when hope seems like a distant light, Make-A-Wish steps in to remind us that magic is real. I think we've seen it here today, and it resides in the kindness and generosity of humanity. For families navigating the unimaginable tough journey of a child's cancer diagnosis, a wish can be a beacon of joy, a moment of respite, and a source of strength to continue fighting. If you are a family member, a friend, or a community member who knows a brave child facing such a battle, I encourage you, reach out to Make-A-Wish. Recommend a family that could benefit from experiencing the magic of a wish come true. Encourage parents and guardians during these trying times to embrace this opportunity to let light and love into their lives through the granting of a wish. It's more than just a moment of joy. It's a catalyst for strength, hope, and enduring memories that illuminate the darkest of times. So to those who are part of this journey, remember, you are not alone. There is a community right here ready to support you, to uplift you, to make your dreams come true. Oh, to keep connected with this community of courage, follow Take Courage 143 on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok is coming. Together, we can continue to share stories, spread hope, and create magic. Our next episode, Wednesday on May 15th, we are going to discuss and explore the Courage Bear Project initiative with two special guests who know courage. And now, if you'll join me, let us end today's episode with a short prayer, a universal wish for all our listeners. May your hearts be open to you and your spirits brave. In moments of darkness, may you find the light of hope and the strength to seek joy. Let courage lead your steps and kindness guide your actions. And for those walking through the toughest times, may a wish find its way to you, turning darkness into a beacon of light and love. Thank you for sharing this time with us on the Take Courage 143 podcast. Until our paths cross again, hold on to hope, embrace courage, and remember the magic of a wish can illuminate the darkest of times. Take courage. I love you. Let me see.
My
I
happy
like
place.
to save it. I like to make my mom really nervous and then whip it out.